Hello there, and welcome to yet another listening chaos as we attempt to make kind of a nightmarish scenario for some PCs. Hi, by the way, my name is Katie. Lovely to see you here. If you're joining us on YouTube for the first time, welcome. We just figured out multi-streaming. By we, I mean me. So, the first thing I'm trying to do is kind of naturalize a cave system sort of thing in here, which is an interesting prospect when the bottomless pit feature does not enjoy you trying to put objects in it, as it is bottomless, and those tend to fall down. So I was working on, to start us off with, were some runes, such as some broken bridges that we could apply between places. As you can see, it does not like being placed on the outer edges of anything out here. So that is presenting an interesting issue. We could just open it up to be a pit of acid, but obviously a bottomless pit is pretty exciting. So I'm going to grab a few more of these cave rocks and see exactly what the issue is here. Because we seem to be able to deposit it somewhere like there, and then we can move them from there. So that's probably what we utilize for a few of these. And deposit them around as we need to build out a little bit more of our cave floor. Make it look just a little bit more natural, although that one does not at all. We go. Don't forget to turn your objects, kids. How is everyone holding up on this hump day, as it were? Middle of the week. Not quite through. There we go. Round off just a few more of these edges here, and then I think we need some broken bridges, some runes, and just a generally dangerous place for, PCs and NPCs, monsters alike, to fight. Throw a couple of jagged edges in here to make it a little bit more difficult to cross. Definitely round out a few of these areas, especially where we've got corners and such. I'm fine with putting runes on top of the harder edged pieces, and the runes themselves having harder edges, but I don't quite want that effect on these bits of rock. I'm kind of going for a natural cave sort of thing. Very specific, I know. There we go. Shove one more of those in there, and I don't know what shape that is supposed to be, but enjoy that. Maybe we'll grab one more of those without getting rid of it this time. And we'll do sort of an arrowhead combo up here to flesh these two out. There we go. With a little bit of an extension off to that side. There are other rocks than these. You could absolutely use other rocks. However, they are conveniently sized and conveniently flat along the top, so adding other rocks to them is just a little bit easier to deal with. And they meld really well together, as you can see. We can even kind of do just a little bit of an outcropping there to add a little bit of variation. Same deal over here. Up and over here. There we go. Ooh, just a couple more edges to get through, and then we can get into some stalactites and some cool lighting, and making this a problem. I don't know, I'm thinking some swinging logs and floating bits of nonsense. Just throw a bunch of sturges in here, honestly, you'd have half your problems solved. There we go. I will eventually put a counter on this stream for how many times I say "there we go" in a customer service type voice. It's not on purpose, it's It's been trained into me from an early job in the food service industry. And people who still have nightmares about ketchup not being at a table, they know what I mean. Alright, stretch out just to yet another side. We can leave a few hard edges here and there. Don't mind them at all. They don't look too bad, and we can even kind of play with just a few of them. Like, still leave some of the hard edge there, but bring it down just a little bit, combine them together with other bits of rock. In this case, can't quite turn it on its side there, as we don't want to completely muck up our outside, so we can do kind of an outcropping situation. I am bringing it over here. Which side of the rock is best? Questions you never thought you would need to ask. Alright, glancing over here in the runes section, kinda wanna do the real stupid thing and drop a, one of the pit situations in the middle here. Which of course we have traps also, things like spike traps. Metal barriers. Sandbags we probably don't need. I believe I'm looking for, yes, pits. There is this conversation pit, of course. I was kind of looking for this pit, but I also don't want to completely get rid of everything that I've done. Good grief. Let's see, we have wells. I think that pit might be our best bet. Let's make sure it's the pit we want. We also have this lovely little number, which the main issue is getting it to be in the middle of anywhere. What about this version of it? That one's a little brighter, it's not too bad. I kind of like the implication of that one there. We could definitely throw this down in a corner, such as over here. Here we go, nice little set of runes over there. Let's see, I don't really want any more holes going down to anywhere. I like that though, nice and subtle. Let's take a look at a little bit of our lighting situation. Obviously you can turn it to night, which is in general just handy to have because it makes all the lighting just a little bit creepier. But there are other settings that you can check out, like if you wanted it to all glow green for some reason, or other various colors. Big fan myself of just the general night. I think it's a pretty solid little color palette, and you can add a lot of different lighting and things to adjust for that. So, for example, let's grab, the word I am looking for is not podium. I think it might be plinth. Yes, stick around to hear me mispronounce more words. Let's see here. I am still deeply in the runes, but I probably need something that's actually whole, so let's go into maybe stone construction. It's under decoration, isn't it? Statues? Pedestals. There's what we're looking for. We have some nice gothic stone ones. Those are nifty. We love throwing in an extra random statue where you can. Just anywhere you can, really. Always goes well. I am going to put this in, but we're going to put her here. Spin this around, and then I'm going to apparently just take her by accident. Which is fine, I'll use that separately. But taking her, we're going to oversize as much as we can and see where we can or cannot drop her in. So if we put her at that level, we can do some kind of nifty stuff where we have little bits of statue coming out of rock with fallen bits around them. It may sound a little wonky, but it'll make sense. There are other statues that are significantly larger we could definitely utilize. Let's see here, like these lovely sculptures of death. could throw one of those into here, somewhere down here. I do like putting them places where PCs are more likely to see them, if that makes any sense. We have a little bit of room down here. We could put it here and then put it off the side, maybe shoot some flames out of its mouth or something. So let's grab the bottom half of the sculpture, spin that around. And then we'll lower it down until we can just see it. Bring it over here. And lower this one just slightly down too. There we go. Mostly matched up. Ideally you want no light showing through the gap on the other side. Which there is just the tiniest bit there. There we go. Perfectly matched up. Surely there's no line there whatsoever when you're in close-up view. We definitely need to put some sort of pedestal situation in the middle of that, but for right now, what I wanted it for, before all of the hubbub, was to put here and to actually grab a couple of miniature versions, not with knights, but I appreciate the enthusiasm, and make those just a little bit smaller, and drag those in for a little bit of decoration over here. And keep adding statues to them, apparently. I'm not opposed to this. I kind of like the tiny statues. I was going to put lanterns of some sort on them, but tiny statues is cute. Alright, for the top of this situation, I'm thinking some sort of glowing orb to ponder. We have magical things to choose from. Things like books with an eyeball on it. Some pretty cool runic stones. I think these came from the marketplace, but they are pretty spooky if you're looking to scare some PCs. Giant eyeballs are probably not on our list of what we need. We could do much larger serpentine type statues, make them a lot bigger. There's a gold version too, though that is incredibly shiny. I do love the way this thing looks though. Super spooky. May or may not use that. We will come back to that thought. Monolith is also a distinct possibility. Let's see here. I don't think it's under lights. You know what? Let's just... How about a ball? How many of those do we have? We have a spiked rolling ball of steel. You can throw that at someone. Cannonballs. How about spheres? The fancier word for ball. Oh yeah. We can absolutely throw a force sphere right there. Beautiful. And let's see here. We can change the color on the force sphere. Do like a scary. Oh, that's nice and spooky. But I do think the classic blue has a nice little tinge to it for that side of the room. Let's see here. If we're going with kind of a mage tower situation, we can go absolutely structural. Possibly utilize a dome. We will see on that one. Realistically, there's a mausoleum that would work oddly well, provided I can remember where it is. I'm in walls. Alright, back in stone constructions, where we started. How about stone platforms? How about we remember we have hands? Let's see, we have large cenotaph type situations. We could for sure turn that into a thing over here. Especially if we get rid of this and our lower skull bit. Don't think we want to drop down quite that far, but a little bit, actually. We can go completely miss. I think we do want to keep it fairly backed up. And maybe close to parallel with that door over there. Let's see if we can get it all the way on the edge of that. Yeah, that shows pretty well. And then we can put a little bit of lighting in there to really show off some of it. Do like some sculptural lights, I must say. Grabbing a couple of these, we can even go out here and kind of replace the columns if we want. I think I'm gonna turn these to more of a spooky sort of blue situation. And drop another one off back in there. Not at all creepy, should be fine. There's just a skull on the door. Alright, with that in place, we need to start thinking about structurally some things like bridges for starters. Let us go into bridges. I actually think I unfortunately need ruined bridges. Back to the ruins once more. Piles of brick. Stairways. It is always up at the top. Why do I always scroll the other direction? Unknown. Starting from up here, let's see. Which way are you broken? That's what you ought to first state, right? We can drop this down just a bit so that it maybe stops getting quite as upset. That drops off a kind of a weird angle. I'd like to do that with a bit of stone if I could. Stone walls are questionable with hooking up with that part, but that is okay. We have other options. So we're gonna grab a couple of cave rocks, lower them down just a bit so they stick, and we can put one of these right along the edge of here, so we have something to build off of a little bit. Might need mushrooms in here at some point, but for the moment, not too bad. Unsure if I want to put another pit situation in the middle here. I was thinking something along the lines of something structural if my computer decides to cooperate. Round constructions are a great place to start. There is, however, in stone constructions, the new Gothic things. Those are in stone, right? They're not. Oh, they are. I wasn't completely incorrect. Alright, I like the shape that these have. So I think I want to drop one of these down right in here. Just in the middle there. And then we can go again to decoration and grab another pillar or plinth. Pedestal. Oh, look at that. We have a pre-made stone pedestal. Does it work the same way? It is very similar. We have some pretty fancy stuff we can put out here. Lots of different statues, metal and glass cubes, which we probably don't need, although I do like the idea of putting a light inside of one of those, so we might just give that a try. So we'll just blow that up real quick and give that a little bit of a light, see what that does. It is a workshop item from Steam. Thanks! Spooky Dungeon is doing good so far. We are super excited for its continued existence. Looks like, yep, unfortunately it cuts off light. It is technically see-through glass, but not for the light, which is, you know, odd, but the way things work sometimes. So back into decoration go we, as we are looking at builds. What we have kind of some nice rocky looking pedestals. pedestals with things on them, pre-made treasure, reliquaries, which are super creepy from the side, golden statues, and the like. I do like these little demon statues. I think they would be lovely little additions to any corner in here. As a matter of fact, let's bring 2 of them over here. Well, after we get it to accept that they are in fact here. There's one. Raise it up to there. Grab a second one. Yep, statues always seem to make parties paranoid. I don't know why that is. I've definitely never, ever had them in a room full of gargoyles that they said the entire time were gargoyles, and then eventually they were in fact. Let's see, here we got lots of lions we could throw up. I know that I have other possible things to throw in. There are really cool things such as lava statues, which are a lot of fun. Piles of bones, always important to have around. Let's see, some rugs, some wall hangings, and some paintings. We could do a little bit of a walkway situation if we go with some structural stuff. We go with stone platforms. And then we've got a couple of different ways to do things. I do like these stone steps a lot. They do some nifty stuff. The trick with using these will be getting this to the right level and getting it to stick. So we will see how that goes. And then we'll do something like that. It has worked. Beautiful. With that, we will build an empire. Just kidding, we'll probably just break off the ends of it there, but still, very cool, very handy. I'll probably grab a few more of these to plop our little platform over here up on top of. And then we'll just grab our platform, plop him right in the middle here, make him a bit bigger, lower him down to the correct height so he's not just above everything. Out on some of the... Ooh, I do like that platform a lot. Can I have it? No? Is it too big? Am I too high up? What about a regular one? I can only have it if it's right there. Alright. Thank you. We'll grab that. We can put some interesting issues around there. We'll grab a couple more of these. Throw over in here. If we turn the stone steps the right way. Here we go. And not quite, but very, very close. The effort was appreciated. Alright, and one more of those for good measure. And then down here in the... It's not... It is structural, isn't it? It's structural ruins rubble. There are some handy little piles of stones. Some of them match, some of them do not. But if you find a set that matches well enough to what you're working with, you can just throw it out on the edge of things, and it's pretty good at camouflaging. Oh, thank you for the resubscribe, Hex Darkfire. Appreciate you. And I always appreciate your input in the stream. It is much appreciated. I think I've said appreciated 3 times now. Yep. This is what we sub for, right? the social anxiety. Alright, piles of stones. That's what we were looking at. That's a nice pile of stones right there. We'll lower that down, drag it out here, pick it back up. And notice that it does not quite match what we were doing, but that is fine. It's just fine. It's not fine at all. Let's see here. You're allowed to be here for the free samples anytime you want. Again, Hex Darkfire, thank you for the subscriptions, and honestly, we just love that you love some free maps that I, you know, come here and be awkward while making. I appreciate it. None of this stone is going to match appropriately, is it? No, why would it do that? Let's try nature and see if there are any light enough stones. There's a moon. We can just throw one of those in the middle of here. Plenty of geysers and the like. These rocks are fairly light, but they don't quite fit the bill for rubble, unfortunately. We can throw out some of them, though. Spun around correctly. And they can help bridge a little bit of the gap between edge and rock. Especially if they're raised up to the right level, huh? Let us take a look once more at some bridges. There are some wooden ones in here. I'm fairly certain I also have a broken bridge as well. A little bit of some broken scaffolding. Again, you have to find somewhere that you're able to put it and drop it down to a level that it will let it be there. I like to refer to it as sticking. But when you do something like that, there we go, you can make it, you know, a little scary for a PC to maybe get across. You can also accidentally move some of your rocks that are edges. Highly recommend that. And you got a pretty good death trap going thus far. Let's see, vats of acid, almost always necessary. Computer freezing, also necessary. We have insects, arachnids, crystals. I do love some spooky crystals. And these ones are super spooky, and you can change their color, so, you know, kind of some fun stuff to be had there. Especially if you lower it down just a bit so you can put it in appropriate places. Such as out here. Then we can grab a few more of these to dot around where we're going to eventually want some more. I'm thinking a lot of the corners are good places for them. And then we can get some bigger crystal clusters, make them as big as they are capable of being. Which apparently is that big. We'll turn those blue real quick, grab a few of those, and lower them down to a level where they stick. Bring them over here, and we'll go ahead and give those a quick raise up. And just grab a few more of them to fill out some of the nonsense in here. I also really like adding just a nice dangerous thing to make it really hard to run around the corners. Not impossible, just painful. Grab another one for here. Then we'll drop another one of these on this side, but we need to sneak it in behind this gargoyle. Of course, we've got lots of geodes and things, and I do love these. They are super nifty. But they do look a little bit like a dessert in the current context that I'm using them. Not their fault. Just how it happens sometimes. I'm thinking some magical kind of lights on the broken edge sort of, oh, how do I put this? The Finding Atlantis, the old Finding Atlantis movie style of blue, not quite alchemical light. There are lots of cool examples like frost lanterns that you can get out of some of the things. I find that they match in pretty well with the crystals, though they are a slightly different color. Doesn't seem to quite matter which style of blue you put them on. But lowering one of these just a bit, we could grab it, and we could light it up amongst the crystals here. I think what I would like to do is do a little bit of covert lighting first. So for that, we grab a candle, and we go ahead and shift it over to a blue. And then we zoom in enough to be able to find it. That is the problem with this little trick here. Then we can grab it, and making it bigger sometimes helps, sometimes really doesn't. But grabbing this, again, lower it down so it sticks. And you can then put it inside of some of these crystals to give them a little bit of the extra glow that you may or may not be looking for. I personally am just a big fan of spooky glowing crystals. There was specifically a pit in here that I was thinking of using because it has glowing light coming up out of the bottom, but I am not 100% for sure that you can change the color of the light, and putting it in now would probably accidentally delete a lot of things, as it likes to do. I didn't put any of those up here, and there's so many of them up here. Running back down here real quick, we'll just grab one of these little guys. I'll lower him down just a bit, but make him a fair bit bigger so I can still grab it. And then we'll just deposit a few more of these. We can do some smaller scattered crystals if we want to really add some glow to the ambiance. Alright. One nice and very not stable bridge here. There are a lot of hanging braziers. I know they're not called braziers, that's a different thing for sure. But bear traps. I mean, I don't not want to put one in here, but I don't necessarily need one right now. Let's see, we have our glowing spheres. Well, I do love a hand monster, and that is one of the spookier things in existence on here. Don't necessarily need it for that. I do love this little weird reaction chamber, though. If I could close the door on it, I would probably 100% be using it. Because it is super cool, the light is super bright, it's just perfect. We love a gelatinous cube, some ritual hands, also absolutely necessary. Let's see. Let's try some utility. Somewhere in here is alchemy. There you are. We have alchemist tables that definitely glow with a little bit of blue glow, but not quite what we're looking for. A cauldron that can do a pretty significant amount. Let's check real quick. Go with structural pits. It's down here. It's a ritualistic pit. If I put it here, no, you can't change the colors on any of it. So we're gonna undo, a thank you. Ooh, treasure pit. I don't even think I need anything in engineering. I do like clicking on it though. There's lots of nifty stuff in here if you're doing a mine type situation. Some tents and such. What if I want utility? Magical stuff. That's still just the same thing that I just looked at, definitely. We got libraries, timepieces. Dungeons occasionally have handy things that you may or may not want in them. I do particularly enjoy the gingerbread cage and the guillotine myself. But for our current purposes, probably not. So we'll grab a little bit more scatter, but this time we're going to do it the easy way by going up here to nature. We're going to drop our density way down, make our mouse way smaller. Not just rocks, thank you. And the beautiful thing about the rocks button is it just adds some extra rocks. Nothing that weird or out there about it. You can of course sprinkle in some extra crystals. I do actually spend still a large amount of time mashing themes that shouldn't go together. Hex Darkfire. Appreciate your comment once more. It's how do I describe this? I have a really hard time not mashing styles together. Because everything I touch sometimes I feel like requires this steampunk edge, or if I'm into cyberpunk at the time, everything I want it to have, you know, a little bit of a neon edge. I think half the battle is just overcoming that when you can. Let's give ourselves a nice little very battlefield here. Excellent. We can grab a few of these to move out too, and you can do that just by going back to your objects and grab one or two. I would lower them down first so that they actually stay on the map, but easy enough to drag one out if you need. Random crystals I might be able to do. Let's... Wow, I don't know how we're going to turn all of these blue, but alright. Ooh, let's go back to like regular crystals, not painted ones. Nature, rocks, we have crystals. Yes, we have plenty of crystals. We have crystals of all sizes. Let's, How many more crystals should I add? That's another good question. Because I believe we can never have too many, and that's probably inaccurate. Some of the winter stuff is super cute. Love the icicles. Kinda wish light could shine through them a little more, but I appreciate them as they are. Let's go back into our structural side of life here. Check out the masonry. We got fun things like moon gates. Who doesn't want one of those? Definitely don't want to deposit one of those up in here. Like so. Oops. It is pretty, but I don't love that it spits out little bits of gold around it. I don't mind little bits of gold, I just don't need them there. Speaking of little sparkling bits, though, will-o-wisps. I can't remember what color they are in here, but let's find out. Oh, they're nice and blue. That's not at all spooky. Okay, little heavy there. And we'll just throw a couple more of these around, because I think they're cute and spooky. Or cute and creepy. And they also remind me a little bit of playing Fable, and waiting for those particularly dry skeletal dudes to pop up. which that is some fun little bits of lighting there. Alright, let's definitely drag out some sort of bridge situation from over here before we are done. We have lots of partial bridges. The broken bridges, there are not a lot of good choices, are there? Under the ruins. Yeah, there's pretty much just these guys here, which we can set up there, drop down, drag over. I suppose we would drop it there-ish. That's not the worst thing I've ever seen. We can grab another one, actually. Bring it here, and then bring it up to the level. That's actually pretty good, I like that. Grab another one of these guys, lower them down enough so, again, it sticks. And we'll just drop a few of these down into here to honestly kind of get rid of our edges a little bit, but, you know, we don't talk about that, it's fine. Just drop that one way lower. That way we don't have to deal with just having the kind of straighter sides. It makes it look just a little too man, dwarf, or elven made, I think. I'm thinking a little bit of banner or railing on the side. Something like some ruined walls. We do, of course, have broken banisters. Nothing is going to like me putting it on them because it is wall related, unfortunately. So now we wait for the computer to stop being upset with me for clicking on it. The tiny little not responding button. Perfection. Hey. Alright, well now that I've upset Dungeon Alchemist, let's hit that save button. There we go. One saved bit. And I didn't particularly need doors, but I appreciate the offer. I kind of like where all that stands. A little bit missing here. I like that. Unsure about this bridge situation. Probably gonna get rid of it for right now. Consider maybe a couple of these here and there. One of those here. Where would this one go, though? Well, it doesn't necessarily have to go anywhere, does it? We can drag this out to here, grab one of, not you, one of these little guys. There we go. And now we have a broken off little banister edge there. I would say perfection, but it looks pretty beaten up. We can definitely add one more of those if we would like over in this sort of area. I would think I would want to drop it just a bit more. There we go. And this one doesn't look quite correctly broken off. I'm actually just gonna like this little guy over here. And I'll drop it just a little bit lower. Just add some texture to our side there. Not looking too bad so far. In need of not more stairs downwards. I don't think we need to go any further downwards. Love a fallen over plinth, but I really wish they could be a little bit more of the grayish type in color, unfortunately. With this where it is, we could potentially add, of course, some stairs up to it. Some sad broken stairs. I do actually like those a lot. So I'm going to lower this down to where you can't tell that it matches the other side. There we go, just had disappeared. And just add a little bit of texture to our situation up here. We can also shift the whole bit of the house a little bit if we would like to. And I think with these I might want to do that, so I will shift them down. Try to shift this to match it, see if it works. Close enough. We'll take it. Some nice little broken off pieces. We'll grab another one of these rocks just to kind of fill out some of our side here so we're not completely falling off the edge. It gives us a lot of nifty things. There definitely needs to be some sort of skeleton somewhere here. Other than that, we have bollards. We could throw like a weird tree in the middle. That definitely sounded better in my head. A weird tree. Solid choice for any D&D PvG. A weird tree. Well, I say that, but there is actually this really cool monster in one of the previous editions. And basically, it comes from the same place as Beholders, where, you know, it's an outsider, differently planed creature, as it were. But instead of Beholder, I want to say it's called an Overseer. And it looks like this creepy tree with these multiple eyes. And the tentacle thing, kind of, you know, a lot like, I actually like that a lot. What happens if I turn it blue? Is there blue? There we go. I actually like that a fair amount. Kinda want to turn it black to offset things. But that makes it match into the background just a little bit too hard. I think we go with that. And then we get weird with some lighting. As I seem to do every stream. Get weird with some lighting. So we'll grab that. Definitely make this one bigger so that I can see it. Make it shine a little bit blue. And then we'll drag her over into here. And a bit down, I think. Giving us some nice spooky lighting. Super creepy. Hopefully. Eh, not too bad. Still think it probably looks better in a little bit of gray there. So what can we do here? We could grab a few more of the will-o-wisp type situation. Got a few of them congregating on that side of the tree for some reason. That's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. Alright, one or two of them over there, and then... Ooh, do we want some necrotic fog? I kind of always want some necrotic fog. Let's try bringing a little bit of it over here. That is really green. I don't know what I expected. Let's go with wispy white. Yeah, spooky. I think we might have to get rid of our steps. And then add back in some of our effects. So back to our white wispy fog. It can also match some kind of rougher areas of stuff you have going to. Some of the stones and things. Big fan of the lighting with the crystals though. That is really cool. I wonder, this might be a stupid wonder, can I grab a force sphere and can I make it really tiny? I can. Can I zoom in well enough to have it? That's another question, isn't it? Okay, I would like to deposit these kind of just all over the place on this tree. This might sound a little silly, but stick with me. Definitely eat the fruit out of this tree if you are a PC, like 100%. Your DM will love it. Alright, we got a few of them that could use some assistance. Like you back here would just look lovely if you would go where you're supposed to. Alright, some extra blue lights happening over there, not too bad. Overall, looking pretty sufficiently lit. I could drop, definitely for dramatic effect, some of the lighting here, such as, or by and getting rid of this sunlight overall, and then you get this much darker version, which I do like. Makes everything over here look nice and creepy. I definitely need a couple of flaming statues of some sort. So, venturing once more into lighting, let's look at, I think I'm looking for wall mounted. And there we are. Somewhere in here. We're actually going to put these on either side of this little door right here. So the PCs can tell where to come in, obviously. Or you can just throw them in the middle of it. That lights up that side nicely. Adds a little bit of feeling to that side. This thing is bright. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And plop it right in the middle like that. Talking to myself again while stuttering. Doing a good job. Eventually, if you talk to yourself enough, you do run out of things to say, one assumes. There are a lot of really fun things that you can do with a particular lantern type on here, if you're so inclined, and that is the bullseye lantern, and that is because it points in a direction, which may not sound like a lot, but it really is. For example, if I really wanted to highlight this bridge, I might throw out this bullseye lantern here, move it into this rock, and let it point that direction. They do a pretty good job of lighting up a lot of different things. We could also potentially throw one into a statue like that, which if you raise or lower it enough, it will show up in the actual map proper. Lots of fall a long ways down sort of situation there. Let's see. Are we missing any other potential pitfalls or things we should just be chucking people into? like these cupolas a lot. I don't know what I want to do with them, but I like them a lot. I'm a big fan of some of the architecture work that they've added recently. I can't use it in everything, unfortunately, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. So, you know, shout out to Dungeon Alchemist for being awesome as always. Alright, unless we're gonna go hanging ceiling lights, which could. I think that is a pretty solid little start there. Could definitely use a little bit of work, especially around some of the edges. But I think that is a fun little battle map. We will hit the save button real quick. And we'll take a quick walk before we go anywhere. To do that, we wait until we have saved so that we don't get ourselves into trouble. And then, how do I do this again? Let me remember. I believe it's cinematic mode. Yep, thank you. And making our way slowly down here. There used to be 2 of these there, so now it is just 1. But that is weirdly nicely placed. I appreciate that. You can see a lot of candle edges sticking out when you're down in close, but that is pretty worth it. Pretty spooky. Pretty creepy. We have this tree situation here with our multiple floating possible issues for PCs, is what I will call those. A nice rocky entrance with some statues, some great mysterious crystals with little will-o-wisps around them, broken off bridges, pits to hang out and talk in. One of these people definitely has a lantern stuck in her chest. But despite that, I think it's pretty nifty. And it leaves us with this really fun, kind of easy to scare a PC with Battlemap. So this will be available, as always, later on our Discord over at the Gold Mountain Guild. Thank you for joining me today. If this is your first time joining me on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe if you could. We'd really appreciate it. If you're over on Twitch, if you want to follow or subscribe, we will happily accept your handy free Prime subscription you've got floating around. I mean, what else are you using it for, right? Probably important things. Thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate you showing up, and hopefully I will get to hear some stories about the terror inflicted upon PCs with this map. Thank you, and I do hope you have a quite lovely rest of your evening, day, morning, or week.